Well, good gravy, Miss Maisie. Looks like we done fired off and made somebody a little bit upset over the way we talk. Kind of insulting considering the fact that some of those people that talk like that and use this kind of slang were the same ones who, I don't know, signed up for the military and fought for your rights to totally disrespect their phonetics. It's called phonetics. We have them. It's all over the world. I know because, well, I've traveled the world. I lived in Japan, Ohio gozaimasu, for 2 years. I lived in Korea. I went to a Spanish speaking school for 8 years. I learned how to speak Spanish, but I'm pretty rusty over it, and I'll tell you why. I have a hard time rolling the R's, and this was like before I got into the accident and ended up with a speech impediment. Now, my phonetics is classified as Northern Proper English, believe it or not. And I had this classified a long time ago. And the only reason why this was interesting to me was, and I'll tell you why, because I wanted to study communication. Art, music, religion, communication. To me, those are the 4 most important things in my life, on top of, family and friends. But one thing I've learned is this thing called phonetics while I was busy learning other languages. I'll tell you a story, and it's a true story. When I joined the Marine Corps, I had a few friends, quite a few. And I met one gentleman, honestly, his name was Jack Daniels. Lance Corporal Jack Daniels. And this man had a slang to him that would have made my family proud because, well, most of my elders are actually from the South and they use the same slang, little Tennessee, Kentucky mixed in there, But the one thing I do know is Jack was in the Marine Corps with me, and he was there for a reason. And he was there to fight, I guess, for freedom. Because I've talked to these people. We actually lived in the same hut. You know what I'm saying? And in the military, you don't get to live in a house. You live with your brothers at arms. And you stay with them, and you stay with them pretty much 24/7 unless you get a break. So you got to understand them. And I've talked to Jack quite a few times, and, well, he had one of the strongest slangs I've ever met. But he was a lovable guy. And I thought it was always interesting how, no matter how strong his slang was, he had a good heart. And he was there for a reason. And I do know throughout the last 2 decades, we've actually had people go overseas. Like places where they study Islam, the Quran. And they met with people over there. And I found something to be quite interesting. When you're in the military and you go to places where the phonetics are different, you respect that to a certain extent. You have your own phonetics, but some of them actually picked up on it, even learned their language. But the people who spoke the way decent Muslim, that's your YouTube channel, disrespects others' phonetics, doesn't quite hit the button with me. Usually I don't go say anything about anybody else when it comes to that. I don't make videos. But this one kind of, I don't know, it just hit me the wrong way. You don't make fun of other people's phonetics. When I lived in Japan, do you think I actually went up to the Japanese people and said, say the letter R, say the letter R? For those of you that don't know this, a lot of people who basically were raised in Japan and, took their language, it was hard to say the letter R. I do know a lot of Americans who try to speak Spanish, they have a hard time rolling their R's. I do, if I don't stay on top of it. I live in a family right now where we say good morning 5 different ways. Hey, Caro. Buenos dias. Ohio gozaimasu. Good morning. Howdy do. This is what makes this world a beautiful place. So, this is a reply to that YouTube channel, Decent Muslim. Why are you calling yourself decent? See, the Muslim part didn't bother me. I live in an area where we've embraced everybody ever since, as far as I can remember. You know, this new thing that's going on right now. Being Gen X, I know better. I know how I was raised, and I know who I was raised around. So, save your bias. This is a new thing. I know they told you that it's been going on, but no, this is new. A lot of us were brought up with other people, and we learned to accept them and embrace them just like they did us. So do me a favor, just because you picked up a new religion, I think you need to keep people's phonetics out of it. If you want to attack their religion because, well, it sounds like that's something that, you know, you're proud to do. Me, I will be more than proud to tell anybody that I am a Christian. But at the same time, I know I'm going to respect the Muslim or the Buddhist or anybody else who lives across the street from me. That's how I grew up. As a Christian, we're supposed to shine. We're not supposed to stand there and do, I don't know, the other tactics that anybody else does. If we don't shine, well, we're not being very Christian-like. But I'm not the person to put them down. That's between them and God. And most of the things that are going on today, I got to be honest with you, that's between you and God. You know what I'm saying? My God. That's how I raised. That's how I was raised. That's how I'm still raising my kids. But at the same time, I learned to love everybody. And I don't put down anybody's speech impediment. I don't put down their phonetics. I'm the last person. Speak 16 different languages. You think I'm going to put down somebody's phonetics? I'm glad you found your new religion. But I honestly think you should leave other people alone when it comes to, I don't know, their lifestyle and their way of thinking and the way they speak, which is my biggest problem with you. Muslim or not, that does not give you a right to make fun of anybody's phonetics. So, that channel, the one with a lot of subscriptions, Decent Muslims, yeah, how about you put your channel and show me something decent for once instead of making fun of somebody else's phonetics. I'm out here and I will be the first to tell you, that ain't happening. Not around here and nowhere in America. You leave them people alone.